Good morning, gang. Happy Friday morning. So, betting a lot of us that live down south had a restless night, especially people way down south. So as you guys know, Hurricane Helene hit the Florida coast last night as a Cat 4. And now, as the sun is going to start coming up here shortly, we're going to start to really be able to see some of the devastation. It's just short of 6 o'clock here for me, and I was kind of looking just around. I guess so far we have 3 fatalities from the storm, which that's disheartening. That's sad as is. There was one that really struck me as weird, is that a highway sign had blown off and landed on top of a car. And I guess the thought that I had on that was, after the fact that, oh, that sucks, is why in the world was somebody out driving in this? And there was another, I was watching one of the, a video on, I think it was in Tampa, one of the bridges right there on the ocean. And I mean, the storm surge was just coming over the bridge. And there were half a dozen cars driving on it. And I'm thinking to myself, what? Why are you even trying to do this? Wherever you were, you should have stayed. Then we get into the countless tornadoes that were out last night. Probably like a lot of you, I was watching Ryan Hall last night, and it seemed like every few minutes it was, and there's another tornado warning, and there's another confirmed tornado, and these were in Georgia, these were in South Carolina, these were in North Carolina. And I'm looking on the map going, okay, how close is this to me? And there was ones in northern North Carolina that were about 300 miles east of me. I'm like, okay, this is starting to get close. Looking this morning, between Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas, we've got nearly 3 million people without power. There are electrical crews all over the place. I mean, fortunately, at least Florida, I can't speak for Georgia or the Carolinas, but because I didn't see anything on it, so they might have had the same done. But there was massive amounts of electrical crews just staged. And I mean, it looked like a military motor pool or something, just lines and lines and lines of linemen in trucks waiting to be dispatched. Go here, go here, go here, go here. Because the power was out. For me, it's interesting looking at the forecast of the storm. We've had some rain here. Granted, I'm in northeastern Tennessee, so it's not like I'm close to this thing yet. The eye of what's left of the storm is still south of Atlanta this morning. But we've had about 2 inches of rain so far, and we're expect to get another inch today. That's at least the forecast. Actually, we're not supposed to get the worst of it till late morning this morning. So we'll see what happens. Right now, it's drizzling. I mean, it's been cloudy and wet for the last couple of days, but okay. Then the interesting part on how the storm goes is it's basically supposed to split over Knoxville, which is kind of weird. There's a lot more of the storm that's going to tail off, spin back into Virginia, into North Carolina, and then the other side of the storm is going to split off and go toward Nashville and Kentucky. Now, I don't have the world's greatest faith in the Weather Channel and as their predictive skills, because, like I said many times, it's supposed to be sunny today as I look out the window and it's pouring rain. Okay. We'll see what happens. But all of this makes you take pause and says, okay, how prepped am I? Could I deal with what they just dealt with? Are you ready? What are your plans if something devastating like this is coming your way? California's had wildfires, okay? I mean, this was just a month ago or so, you had evacuations in California for wildfires. We know about the tornado that hit Oklahoma last week or earlier this week. We can go through countless other things. Winter's coming. You're going to have blizzards and things. What are your plans? Take a look at these things and go, okay, it happens. Do not ever get caught in the mindset of, oh, it never happens here. Because the story on the hurricane yesterday, oh, it never happens here. Right. This was the biggest hurricane to hit the Big Bend area of Florida since 1851. So for 123 years, am I doing my math right? No, 173 years, you've had people get complacent and go, it doesn't happen here. Until it does. Okay. The devastation will be found out this morning. How prepared were people for it? Did they have somewhere to go? Did they have an evacuation plan? It's one of those, how many people yesterday morning, before this thing hit, said, gee, honey, we might need to leave. Let's go 100 miles north and find a hotel. Right. Like there were any hotel rooms available in Mississippi or something. Every one of them was booked by people who thought ahead of time, who had a plan, who knew where to go. Then you get the people that didn't have a plan. I want to give you this. Now, Perry, which is roughly where ground zero was for this thing, you know what the authorities were telling people that stayed, that figured, I'm going to ride it out? You know what they were telling people to do? Write your full name and your social security on your arm so you can be identified. If somebody tells you that, and you know this is coming, they're not asking you to identify so you can get into a bar. They're going, when we see your body floating down the street, we want to know who you are so we can identify your next of kin. These are the things that people need to think about. As preppers, we talk all the time about economic collapse or EMP or nuclear war or anything. There's a whole lot more to prepping. And it could be weather-related events. It could be a house fire. It could be a job loss. It could be whatever. But people need to think logically about what's my best chance for survival, not how cool is it going to be if I can live stream the flood from my living room like some guy did yesterday, okay? Sure, let's take my life into my own hands for some clicks. Not exactly what I'd call intelligent, all right? You know, anything property-wise can be replaced. You, your kids, your wife, your parents, whatever, can't be. Once they're gone, they're gone. Your house can get rebuilt. Your wife cannot get reborn. People need to take this stuff seriously. People need to take any sort of SHTF event, of which this would be considered one, seriously. It's not going to be, oh, gee, it's not that bad. You know, you hear all the people talking all the time about, oh, yeah, bring it on. Can't wait till World War III starts. I'm going to sit on my porch and pick off blue helmets. This ain't a video game, guys. Because when bullets are coming back at you, when your life is in danger, you need to make rational decisions, and the easiest way to do that is to have a plan ahead of time for everything. Honey, if we have a hurricane, this is what we're doing. And you know this days ahead of time. I mean, everybody's been talking about this hurricane since the beginning of the week. You had since Monday to get wherever you needed to be. You could have gotten a car on Monday from Florida. You could have been in Montana by now, all right, if you wanted to drive that far. If a fire comes, you need to have a plan. Where are we going? If World War III breaks out, you need to have a plan of what we're doing. Do not be one of these people who's Billy Badass who thinks that you're going to win a war with Mother Nature. You know, fires kill people, hurricanes kill people, tornadoes kill people. You know, when the warnings come out and say, there's a tornado heading your way, take shelter now, that's not the time to go, gee, where do we go? You should know that by now. When a hurricane's coming in and you know it's going to hit relatively close to you, you need to have a plan of where am I going to go? Sure, there are a bunch of people that lost everything yesterday. And you could say, what's the point of prepping if a hurricane hits and I lose everything? What's the point of owning a car? You could have a car accident. What's the point of owning a house? It could burn down. Hell, at that point, what's the point of living? Because you're going to die anyway, right? I mean, don't use silly logic. Use common sense. I mean, at least 50% of this country has common sense. Use it while you can. Make good decisions. Have a plan. Come out the other side and deal with the consequences while you're still on your feet. Don't let somebody else deal with the consequences of you being in a pine box. Pinball out.